Okay, so the next question says, find the value of k for which the equation kx squared plus 8x plus k has equal roots. So I'll start first by introducing the three types of roots of quadratic equations. So there are actually different kinds of roots, but I'll just introduce I'll just introduce you to only three. Okay, which are the only ones that are in your syllabus. So the first type of roots that we have are known as okay, let me first tell you what it means when you say roots of a quadratic equation. So every time you solve a quadratic equation, you always find two answers, which are x is equal to a and another x is equal to b. So these answers that you get after solving a quadratic equation, they are called roots. Or let me just generalize it and say the answers that you get after solving an equation, they are called roots. Yeah, so after solving a quadratic equation, you always get two answers, the first one and the second one. So those are the ones that we call the roots of the quadratic equation. So now these answers can either be different and real, meaning the quadratic equation has two distinct or two distinct real roots. And if it has two same roots, two same answers, if for instance you find x is equal to 2, another x is equal to 2, it means that the given quadratic equation has what? Has equal roots. And then if the quadratic equation gives you complex roots, for instance, if you are solving a quadratic equation using the formula method and you find the answer to be x is equal to, I'm just giving an example, you find the answer to be negative b plus or minus, whatever that you have in the brackets there, the discriminant is negative, then over 2a. If this is your solution, you have something like this. Another x is equal to negative b minus the root of negative d over 2a. So if these are your solutions, if what you find inside there is negative, it means that the given quadratic equation has imaginary or complex roots. So you can either call them complex roots or imaginary roots. Okay, so this is these are the three types of roots that I said I'm going to introduce you to. So now, what does it mean if you have two real distinct roots or two real different roots? What does it mean? It means that if the quadratic equation, let's say ax squared plus bx plus c, has two distinct real roots, it means that the curve, it can either be minimum or maximum, but one thing you have to know about such a curve is that it's going to cut the x-axis at 2 points. So it can either be like this or like that, provided it's just cutting the x-axis at 2 points. So these 2 points are the ones that we're calling A and B, but don't get this as the answer as maybe these roots there. Let me just say, if a quadratic equation has two different real roots, it means that it cuts the x-axis at 2 different points. And what that means is that the discriminant is greater than 0. And what is this discriminant? So the discriminant is simply just the function. Let me write something here. We know that the quadratic formula is equal to negative b plus or minus the root of b squared minus 4ac, everything over 2a. So this discriminant we're talking about is simply just what you have under the root there in the quadratic formula. So it means that our b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0. That's what it means. So now, if we, so this case here is for two distinct real roots. So let us look at a situation where we have equal roots. So if you have equal roots, it means that the discriminant, so let me write equal roots there. So when you have equal roots, it means that the discriminant is equal to 0. And when it's equal to 0, when it comes to sketching, it means that the given quadratic equation meets the, the given curve of the quadratic equation meets the x-axis at one point. Remember, we said if we have equal roots, it means that if you have equal roots, it means that you only have one solution. X is equal to A and another X is also equal